There's just something about 70s rock that hits different. The era had heart. It was messy, raw, soulful, and totally unfiltered. Everyone knows the big names: Zeppelin, Floyd, Sabbath, Queen. But there were others. They had the riffs, they had the talent, they had the fire, but they never got the spotlight they deserved. So today, we're taking a deep dive into the other side of the 70s, those forgotten legends that should have ruled the world, but instead became cult favorites or total mysteries. Before Glenn Hughes went full rock star with Deep Purple, he was laying down funky hard rock grooves with Trapeze. This band had soul, swagger, and serious chops. Their 1970 album Medusa? Criminally underrated. Soul elements that made them totally unique. Hughes' vocals were insane. 1 minute Velvet Smooth, the next Full Throttle Banshee. But like so many others, lineup changes and lack of label push kept them underground. Still, Black Cloud and Medusa are tracks that make you go, how the hell wasn't this on every radio station back then? If David Bowie and Pink Floyd had a weird genius baby, it'd be Bebop Deluxe. Led by Bill Nelson, a guitar wizard and low-key philosopher, these guys mixed glam rock shine with progressive ambition and art school vibes. They never really had a breakthrough single, which is wild considering how catchy Ships in the Night is. Their albums like Sunburst Finish and Axe Victim were loaded with creativity. They were a little too smart for mainstream rock and a little too shiny for prog purists, but that's what made them special. In today's world of algorithmic playlists, Bebop Deluxe would have been indie rock royalty. Before Metallica ever plugged in, there was Sir Lord Baltimore. This band was loud, like melt your face loud. Formed in Brooklyn, these guys dropped their debut, Kingdom Come, in 1970 and basically invented speed metal before it was a thing. They weren't subtle. It was all drums, distortion and chaos, and people didn't know what to do with it. They didn't chart, they didn't tour much, but that record would go on to inspire bands like Kiss, Metallica, and even Soundgarden. They were ahead of their time, and sometimes that means you get forgotten in your own era. Okay, let's talk about Growers of Mushroom. No, not a gardening show. This is the 1971 debut album from British rockers Leaf Hound. It's a cult classic now, but back then, barely anyone heard it. They had those fuzzy, blues-driven riffs that Sabbath fans would eat up. And their vocalist, Peter French, had the perfect mix of soul and snarl. But they fell apart almost immediately after the album dropped. Classic case of bad timing, no promotion, and a record label that didn't know what they had. Today, that one album goes for hundreds on vinyl, because the people who know, know. If you've never heard of Frank Marino, prepare to have your mind blown. This guy shredded harder than half the famous guitarists we always hear about. His band, Mahogany Rush, was kind of like a Canadian answer to Hendrix, but with more psychedelic edge and speed. Frank played like he was possessed. Their live shows were legendary, but outside of a small cult following, they never caught on big in the US. Too experimental for the mainstream, not quite heavy enough for the metal crowd. Still, Dragonfly and Electric Reflections of War? Unskippable. Let's head to Wales for a second. Budgie is one of those bands that metal musicians worship, but hardly anyone knows. They were quirky, heavy, and unafraid to experiment. Picture Black Sabbath jamming with early Rush, and you've got Budgie. Their lyrics were strange and cryptic. Their album covers were even weirder. But man, the music ripped. Songs like Bread Fan, which Metallica famously covered, and Crash Course in Brain Surgery had riffs for days. But despite their innovation, Budgie never got the big label push or radio airplay they needed. Still, they left fingerprints all over the heavy metal scene. Just ask any thrash or prog metal band where they got their sound. If you're liking the video so far, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Stray never made it big, but man, they should have. Formed in London when the band members were still teenagers, Stray had all the ingredients. Heavy riffs, melodic hooks, and killer energy. Their early 70s album like Suicide and Saturday Morning Pictures were packed with gritty guitar work and soaring choruses that could rival any stadium act. They toured relentlessly and shared stages with the likes of Iron Maiden and Kiss, but never broke into the mainstream. Maybe they didn't have the right manager. Maybe they were just a little too ahead of their time. But if you love bluesy hard rock with a touch of prog, Stray is pure gold. Next up, let's talk about UFO, a band that's practically sacred in metalhead circuits, but still flies under the radar for casual listeners. UFO was born in the UK and started out doing space rock. Yeah, the trippy kind with swirling sounds and cosmic themes. But things really kicked into gear when German guitar god Michael Schenker joined the crew. With Schenker on board, UFO became a hard rock powerhouse. Tracks like Dr. Doctor and Rock Bottom are full-blown anthems. Their live album Strangers in the Night? That thing is legendary. But again, timing and internal chaos got in the way. Schenker kept leaving and rejoining. Management fumbled their rise, and the rise of punk and new wave in the late 70s overshadowed their moment. But make no mistake, bands like Iron Maiden, Metallica, and Def Leppard owe a ton to UFO. Let's finish off with one of the weirdest journeys in rock history. Lucifer's Friend was a German band with a British singer and a total genre-hopping problem. One album was heavy metal, the next, synth-driven prog. After that, funky jazz rock. Their 1970 debut was dark, heavy, and way ahead of its time. Black Sabbath fans would have gone nuts for it. But every time they built a following, they'd switch sounds and lose half their fans. Still, they were fearless. And albums like Banquet and Lucifer's Friend are time capsules of a band that refused to stay in one lane. So the next time you're scrolling through a playlist, take a detour, type in one of those names, fall down the rabbit hole. Because forgotten doesn't mean gone. And in rock and roll, legends never really die, they just wait to be rediscovered. So who did you like the most? Let us know in the comment section below and make sure to like the video.